A hurricane could make landfall in Hawaii today. The National Hurricane Center is putting out hurricane warnings for Hawaii. This storm could bring catastrophic flash flooding. We got a lot of weather to talk about in today's video, so let's jump right into it. It is Saturday, August 15th, 2026, and you can see this is what the Storm Prediction Center is thinking for our severe weather today. We do have two slight risks in the United States right now. We have one slight risk out here in southwestern Ohio today, northeastern Kentucky, and southeastern Indiana. Then we got another slight risk in western Kansas, eastern Colorado, and western Nebraska. We do have a threat for a few tornadoes today, as we do have enough atmospheric spin for a few brief tornadoes to be out here in southern Ohio and northeastern Kentucky today. I do think this threat is low, but it is at least potential, so make sure you're staying prepared for that. Have multiple ways to receive weather alerts. We're also expecting a potential for some damaging winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles an hour today. So definitely make sure you're strapping down unsecured objects so they don't fly away from some of these strong winds that could be happening with the storms out here. Consider rescheduling outdoor plans if you have any out here today. And our main hail risks are going to stick over here in eastern Colorado and western Nebraska and even southeastern Wyoming. This is the main area I'm watching for the hail threat today. I do think we could see some hail and then maybe a few isolated large hail events maybe out there. So I do recommend to park your car in the garage if you're inside of this hail risk here, as I am expecting some pretty decent hail. As we go into tomorrow on Sunday, another severe weather threat is likely in the mid-Atlantic and parts of the Ohio Valley and over there in the plains. We do have a large tornado risk tomorrow. I am expecting a potential for a brief tornado expanding from eastern Virginia up into central Ohio. We're not going to have like insane atmospheric spin, so I'm not really expecting a tornado outbreak. I'm not expecting that, but we could see a few brief tornadoes tomorrow, so it is something to keep an eye on. It is something to be having multiple ways to receive weather alerts. We could also see some damaging winds tomorrow in these areas in excess of 60 to 70 miles an hour, so you guys want to be prepared for that. The main concern is going to be inside of that 15% wind risk through eastern Virginia all the way into northern Kentucky. So you guys want to have multiple ways to receive weather alerts. Consider strapping down unsecured objects so they don't fly away. Our main hail risks are going to stick over here in parts of eastern Colorado, western Nebraska, and western South Dakota tomorrow. So our main hail risk will stick around. So you guys want to also be prepared for that. Denver, you guys are going to get another storm on Sunday. And then more severe weather is coming on Monday. We could see some isolated severe storms out there in parts of northern Alabama and parts of North Carolina, and then over there in the northern plains. Sunday is going to be probably one of the lower end severe weather days out of all these days, but definitely have multiple ways to receive weather alerts, and we'll keep you guys updated as we get more information. It doesn't stop there. On Tuesday, another severe weather threat is taking place in northeastern Kansas, all of Iowa, and parts of Nebraska. I'm watching Tuesday closely here. We could be seeing some severe weather. There's some uncertainty with this, but it is going to be something to keep an eye on, and we'll get more detailed with this in a moment. We're going to have some rain showers push through this afternoon throughout parts of the Ohio Valley. These rain showers are not going to be anything too crazy. The main storms will start developing later, farther into the evening, into the overnight hours out here across parts of Ohio and eastern Indiana. I'm expecting storms to fire out here. Those storms could produce mainly a damaging wind and tornado threat. I don't think the tornado threat is going to be too high, but Columbus, you guys want to be watching out. I'd be watching around 9 or 10 p.m. for some of those storms. And then the farther east they go, they should start dying down a little bit as we lose some of that instability. More storms should develop behind that line out here, producing damaging winds, hail, and maybe a tornado threat. The hail threat is going to be low with these, though. Then more storms could actually develop out here in northern Illinois, northern Indiana. I do think some hail and some damaging winds will be possible with these storms. The tornado threat will be low, but not zero with these storms, and they'll mainly happen during the overnight hours in these areas. So definitely make sure you have multiple ways to receive weather alerts. But Fort Wayne, Detroit, you guys are first in line. There's uncertainty whether the storms will develop farther down south or farther north. If they do develop farther north than in Detroit, you guys will have a better chance for these storms. But Fort Wayne, I'd be watching around 5 or 6 p.m. for the storms to arrive. So make sure you stand prepared for that and everything like that. We go ahead and take a look at our convective available potential energy here. You can see this is our storm fuel. This is basically all of our storm fuel, basically the food for the storms. We do have a ton of storm fuel out here today, which this can help these storms mature into big storms. So we'll have to watch this closely. If we do get some storms going in western Illinois, those could be some pretty significant storms, and I do think that's a possibility that could happen. But yeah, I don't really think the tornado threat would be very high today, because if we look at the instability, the main parts of the instability will be down here. So any top part of the storms that goes towards Cleveland probably won't have a big tornado threat with that, but we'll still keep an eye on it. So yeah, we got like around 4,000 to 5,000 joules per kilogram in some of these regions, which is plenty for the storms to work with. And it's not just the severe weather threat; we're also expecting a lot of rain to fall in these areas today. You can see isolated areas getting up to around 4 inches of rain, especially in northern Illinois today. Potentially, some models are showing that, but pretty much in this whole area right here, we could be seeing a pretty decent amount of rain today. Anywhere from 1 to 4 inches of rain we could be seeing in these areas today. So I do want you guys to keep that in mind, especially if you're in those low-lying areas. You guys want to have ways to get to higher ground if you end up in a flash flood warning. Weather Prediction Center is highlighting a moderate risk of excessive rainfall through central Ohio into eastern Illinois today. This includes Columbus, Dayton, Ohio, over there towards Lafayette and Noblesville, Indiana. We're going to have a lot of rainfall in these areas, and this is going to be pretty concerning. So definitely have ways to get to higher ground if needed, especially if you're in those low-lying areas, as we do have a pretty big chance for flash flooding today. And make sure if you're out driving, turn around, don't drown when you encounter those flooded roadways. If we go ahead and look at the future radar for tomorrow, you can see that we're going to have some storms develop out here in parts of the Mid-Atlantic and parts of the Ohio Valley. We're going to have some storms develop. These storms could produce damaging winds, tornadoes, and maybe some small hail out here. So we'll watch that very closely. We're going to have enough spin to kick up in the atmosphere to spawn a few brief tornadoes. They'll be very brief and quick hitting tornadoes, and I know some people underestimate these 2% tornado risks, but it's not zero. So definitely it's better to be safe than sorry. You want to be tracking the weather tomorrow, especially if you're going outdoors and stuff like that tomorrow, because Columbus, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, you guys could be impacted first in line during the evening hours tomorrow. And then these storms should move farther east into the overnight hours as they impact Washington, D.C., and Charleston and New York. There's some uncertainty whether they'll be severe by the time they reach those areas. A few dangerous storms will even extend down into the southeast tomorrow, so we'll also have to keep an eye on that. You guys want to have multiple ways to receive weather alerts down there. If we go ahead and look at our significant trade parameter values tomorrow in the Mid-Atlantic, we don't have like insane amounts, but we do have enough for some tornadoes, and you can see this kind of shows where some tornadoes could be. You can see the main area is probably going to be out here in the Appalachian Mountains. So we'll have to watch that. We can see a few brief tornadoes out there in those regions. So have multiple ways to receive weather alerts. The atmosphere is favorable for tornadoes tomorrow. I wouldn't rule out maybe an upgrade to a 5% tornado risk if models show a more elevated tornado threat in some areas. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And I'll keep you guys updated as we get more details in tomorrow's forecast. And then tomorrow in the plains, you can also see another round of severe storms out there. So we will have to keep an eye on that, and it's definitely something to be staying weather aware for. We're mainly looking at some hail risks out there, but have multiple ways to receive weather alerts and park your car in the garage if you're out here in the plains tomorrow as well, not just today. If we go ahead and look at the future radar for the 18th of August for that severe weather threat out there in the Midwest, out here in parts of Iowa, you can see this is kind of what's shown. It's definitely not a very high quality image of what it could look like. This is going to shift around a lot, the threat area out here in the Midwest. It could go farther east, farther west, farther south, or farther north. So we'll see what happens in the day 4 outlook. It's especially hard to forecast, especially in the summer. So we'll watch this closely, and you can see this is kind of what the GFS is hinting. You can see a few storms develop. And if we go ahead and take a look at convective available potential energy on the 18th, you can see that it's also showing a decent amount for storm fields for the storms to work with. So we got the ingredients coming together. We got all the ingredients coming together to allow enough confidence that we're going to get some storms in the Midwest. It's not time to get detailed, but it's time to say, hey, there's a storm coming in the Midwest. But it's not time to know the exact area that we're going to be seeing the damaging winds, hail, and the tornado threat. That's when it gets into like the day 2 and day 1 range. Now let's talk about Hawaii. Okay, I do want to talk about Hawaii right now because they're about to get hit by a hurricane. We do have a very strong tropical storm off the coast of Hawaii right now. It is going to go ahead and track towards Hawaii. I do think it could make a landfall in the Hawaiian Ocean View area. If we do get landfall, I think that's where it could be. It could go a little bit farther south of Hawaii as well. It's a little uncertain. We do have a high pressure system north of this hurricane that's going to be soon to be a hurricane. and that should maybe push it a little bit farther south of Hawaii. So this is going to be very tricky to know where this is going to make landfall. It could go a little bit farther south and a little bit farther north. But no matter what, Hawaii is still going to be getting very bad flash flooding. We get up to 30 inches of rain in Hawaii today in some areas. So you guys want to be preparing now for this storm. Prepare now if you're in these areas. Prepare now. But if it's already starting by the time you're watching this video, you just want to make sure you're just in your safe spot. And you guys need to potentially get your flooding sandbags and stuff, so just make sure that the flooding doesn't go into your house, because that is a possibility today. And then this hurricane, it should make landfall in Hawaii probably maybe this afternoon. It's very uncertain weather when it will. But this could also bring maybe a few tornadoes in Hawaii if it strengthens up some more, because these storms provide a lot of energy. So we'll watch that closely, and also be aware for maybe even a tornado threat in Hawaii, because we could see some water spouts come onto land. So keep in mind for that, and this is going to be a pretty significant storm. And then it's expected to go back to a tropical storm after it passes Hawaii, and then maybe even turn into a hurricane again as it gets farther to the west of Hawaii. So we'll watch this closely, and we'll keep you guys updated in Hawaii. It should make its track up towards the other islands, like near Honolulu. It should be less impactful in those areas, but still could bring a lot of life-threatening flash flooding. So be aware for that. And that is pretty much all I got for you in today's video. Make sure to slap a like, subscribe. We do have a tropical disturbance in the Atlantic. Very low chance of development. I'm not worried about it. Neither should you. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned, and peace.